record on this computer. Can you see a light somewhere saying it's recording? It's recording. I see it. Okay. Almost made that same mistake again. Anyway, hope all of you have had a good week. First of all, I want to say welcome to the halfway point. It's week 5. Everything after today is downhill. And I know you are ready. All of you are ready. But I want to say thank you for listening to me last week. I was highly pleased with the assignments that came in this week. Everything was well before schedule. And thank y'all for saying I've got, can you hear me okay? It's saying that my internet connection is unstable again. It's just, I don't know.
You're breaking up a lot.
But anyway, well, can you hear me now? Pretty good? Can you hear me?
It's in and out.
Is it in and out for everybody? Okay, I'll quit talking in a few minutes anyway, and it'll be you guys talking. But anyway, thank you for the hard work this past week. It made me happy. I was on my vacation, and I was happy on my vacation because all of you did your work and got it done on schedule. So thank you for doing that and honoring my request last week. We're where we need to be. Pretty much with everybody now, and thank you for that. I would ask you to, as you're clearing up, whether it's the CAP or whether it's the PSYOP, don't rush through it just to say I finished it. Make sure that you're putting the quality work in it, because I want you to get the quality grades out of it. But anyway, and with that, I think I'm going to go ahead and show you let me share my screen. Share. And just a reminder, you've got this, but I want to pull it up. This is your Taskstream schedule. This is in your Blackboard shell, but as a reminder, this is where, at a minimum, this is where you should be. And everybody is at a minimum here. There's 3 of you that still need to complete the CAP. Your task 4 is this week. And remember, when you do task 4, you turn around and combine it. So work smart. You can combine it, and turn around and resubmit it after you know that task 4 has been cleared. And go ahead and get this over with so that we can get approval for the Turnitin process. And I'd love, because of where all of the remaining 3 of you are, I'd love for you to go ahead and finish out the CAP this week, getting it into Taskstream, so that I don't have to talk about the CAP anymore. So the 3 of you that have to do that, try your very, very best, to have everything ready. So as soon as I approve it, and if you get task 4 done, don't wait until Sunday to turn it in, so that I can go ahead and clear you on that, so you can go ahead and get it combined, and I can go ahead and give you approval for the Turnitin process and get it to Taskstream. The PSYOP, if you notice, task 1 through 3 are combined. That doesn't mean you turn them all in on the 30th. That means that those 3 tasks must be completed and submitted by the 30th. That means that Dr. Bullis and I would have cleared you on those 3 tasks no later than the 30th. And I hope that a lot of you have already gotten past. Some of you are. Daryl's actually, she will finish up the PSYOP probably today or tomorrow. So several of you are at that place, or getting near that place. And then no later than July 7th, the remaining 3 tasks must be submitted. However,
I'm about,
Don't-
well, I
don't-
just got on.
Hey, Malika, don't let that be your drop dead date. Try to work that. That is my drop dead date. Don't let that be your drop dead date. So try to get that done so that we can go ahead and get this behind you, because there's so many other things with the task stream that you've got to do because you're finishing the program. That gives you plenty of time to be able to focus on those things without having to, to feel rushed at the end. So, and you can see where the competency analysis, the folio, the dispositions, and the internship logs, these are the drop dead dates. Doesn't mean that you have to wait until then. Those are the final dates. I will remind a few of you, go back in and look at your Taskstream account. You were supposed to have completed in 603, you were supposed to have completed, you didn't have the competency analysis to do, but you did have the School of Ed dispositions. And there are a few of you that did not complete the School of Ed dispositions in 603. That needs to be complete. So go back and do a check. Everything through 603 should be completed by now. So go back and do a self-check on that. And that would include your internship logs for that semester, and you should have had 200 hours, a minimum of 200 hours last semester as well. So when Dr. Bullis starts looking at that, don't let him find that you don't have that, because honestly, that would keep you from graduating or finishing the program, and we don't want that to happen. Let's look at the agenda, and you have the agenda also in your possession. But let's look at this. This is what tonight's going to look like. We're going to have a brief discussion of your assignment 4 that was submitted last week. Just a reminder of assignment 5 that's due this week, and several of you have done that already. But it's just using the basic guide to supervision and instructional leadership. Is talking about there are many big ideas presented by the authors in the opening 3 chapters of Glickman. And 3 of them are listed. Factors that describe the schools of the present, visions. Can you hear me okay now? Okay, it's still saying the internet's in and out. Visions of effective schools and factors that describe the schools of the present. You can choose one of those, or you can choose another one based on the reading, and talk about that based on an experience and tell how it relates, personal experience, and tell how it relates to the text reading. Like I said, several have already submitted that. Would anybody have any questions? We talked about the strengths-based leadership assignment last week. I think I got. Is everybody clear on that assignment? Are there any questions about that assignment at this point? And I'll bring it back up next week as well. But we hate to be here before we know it, and you don't want to wait till the last minute to be able to complete this work. Any questions?
Dr. Stedman, I have a question. I just want to make sure I understand. So we're reading the book, answering the questions, meeting with our Zoom group to go over everyone's responses, and then we're submitting a presentation with our class with all of our responses. Is that correct?
And there's also a personal assessment that you have to do, and that is the one in the back of the book. Remember, your book should have this. Mine has been done, so it's open. You should, when you got your book, there should have been a sealed something at the back that gives you access to be able to take your own personal strengths finder assessment. That is part 2 of the assignment. Does that answer that, Mayra?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, Okay, you're welcome. And if you get into something and you have a question about it, you can always call me, okay? Any of you can about that. Any questions about the assignments? You know, you've got 2 more case studies to do. And then, you know, we've got our last week assignment with Dr. Lamb, who will go over the interviewing again with us. So are there any questions about any of this? Is everybody clear on, I didn't mean for you to stress out over the PSEL Standard presentation when it said you had a 0 in there. Just always know that something like that, don't need to stress. There's a glitch, and you know, it can always be fixed, and it was fixed. So what it was, I had to go in and make an adjustment with the schedule, and when I went in there, I didn't know, but with this new system, you have to go back in and redo everything all over again. And I thought it was just going to, I could make those changes and it would reset itself, but it did not. And I had to go back in and put an extended deadline date on there. And that's why you got the message that you got. So everything's clear now on that. Let's look at where we are with things tonight. Malika is our only presentation. She has PSEL Standard 5. And Douglas, you're back on the roll again. You'll be through with your peer reviews after tonight. And I was going to tell you, it says peer review 1, but you're just the first of 2 people that's peer reviewing her. What you'll do, since Douglas, you've already done yours will go in that second place where there's a second place to do your second peer review. So that's where you would put your second peer review in there. Any of you, that I think Douglas is the only one that's affecting at this point. That just means that there's 2 people doing peer reviews there, and Douglas is 1 and Paulette's 2. But you'll be doing the peer reviews on Malika tonight. And then next week, the presentations, PSEL Standard 6 and Standard 7. Amanda will be presenting 6. Douglas, you'll be presenting 7. And then you see who the peer reviewers are. So be prepared, you know, for that next week. Are there any questions about those assignments from Douglas or from Amanda for next week? Everything good? Okay, I'm going to stop sharing. And Malika, I'm going to turn it over to you. This will be a shorter night tonight. I told you that, and that will give you a chance to, you know, to get back, you know, to doing some of your work. I'll hang on at the end if you have any questions about anything.
Okay, can y'all see my screen?
Yes.
All right, so Standard 5, community and care and support for students. Wait a minute, I gotta move this little bars over my PowerPoint. I can't see it. Hold on. All right. Community of care and support for students. Standard 5, effective educational leaders cultivate an inclusive, caring, and supportive school community that promotes the academic success and well-being of each student. Competencies and standards. The first one, holistic student approach. The second one is inclusive school community. The third is student support. Fourth, supportive relationships. Fifth, student empowerment. And sixth, school culture. And I'll go into depth about what these competencies are. What does this standard measure? It measures school community and culture, the physical and social learning environment, supportive relationships, equity and inclusion, and it measures academic student support through extracurricular activities and resources and support for student learning. Why is it important? It creates a positive school culture, enhances student social and emotional well-being, promotes positive relationships among students, teachers, families, and the community, and promotes academic achievement and success. What does this look like at Hillside High School? So the first one, the holistic student approach. Build and maintain a safe, caring, and healthy school environment that meets the academic, social, emotional, and physical needs of each student. So this is a picture of one of our students. So I said that Hillside High creates opportunities to link academic learning with real world experiences. This student is at UNC and she's doing a simulation in one of the labs in the medical centers. We have the holistic student approach it contains safety measures, caring and supportive environments, there's the whole student from all aspects. So some of those things are, we have our see something, say something. This is where students can report anything. It can be if it's bullying, if they see social media that they want to report, because we ultimately want to always keep our schools safe, right? So you have to have these things in place. So they could just call the number, or they can scan the barcode at the bottom where you see the yes, it says say something. It's in English and Spanish. We also have where we create a positive climate by promoting students. We have good news referrals, and then we have where we can refer any freshman if they're displaying good character, anything positive, they did something nice for someone, good grades, etc. So this is a way that we create a positive climate and that we highlight and acknowledge and reward our students. Then we have our school security, because how do we keep our schools safe? So two SROs over here, our school resource officers. They're here full time. They're always monitoring the halls. They're monitoring the camera systems. They're looking to see if students are in the stairwells, if students are doing things they're not supposed to do. And of course, all the administrators have walkie-talkie so they communicate with each other. So I've seen times where one of the officers, they'll spot a student somewhere they're not supposed to be doing something they're not supposed to do, and they'll call over their walkie-talkie and let somebody know to go to that area. We monitor our visitors, has to come through the front office, and they have to check in with the our secretary. Another piece of the holistic student approach is we have restorative practices here as well. We do peer mediation. So let's say we have two students that are at odds with each other. We bring them in for peer mediation. We bring them in, they have to agree, and they have to follow a certain protocol in the mediation process. So we try to resolve issues. We're not trying to always suspend students or, apply a consequence. We want to get to the root of the problem, find out what's happening and how can we get you back on track and get you all to coexist with each other so that you can do what you came here to do, which is learn. We have a real wellness center in our school. It's a doctor's office. It's a full-fledged doctor's office. You can go in there, you get physicals, you get shots, you can get whatever you can do at your primary doctor, you can do here at Hillside. So that is another piece, as another piece that we added that provides that holistic student approach. And then they have access to school counselors as well. As you see right here, it says, welcome to Hillside Student Services Center. It's a big old student services center for students to go in there. The social workers are in there, all the school counselors, our graduation coach, any service they need, they can find right there. And the wellness center is right beside the student service center as well. Number 2 was the second competency, inclusive school community. Create and sustain a school environment in which each student is known, accepted and valued, trusted and respected, cared for and encouraged to be an active and responsible member of the school community. So this is a picture from this is actually from our students at Hillside High School. They went to our Hornet Scholars. They went to UNC Chapel Hill to attend an undergraduate business program. We have our Hornets also went to Duke School of Medicine, and you see one of our students actually using the medical equipment. We do something at Hillside every year where it's called the Senior Stroll. We stop what we are doing, and all of our graduates, they line up and they stroll the entire school, and everybody is just cheering them on, and they love it. We have Hispanic heritage celebrations as well as a part of our inclusive school community. Our third one, student support. This picture here is of our 2024 Freshman Honor Society inductees. This Honor Society contains students who have a 3.8 GPA. They have completed at least 10 hours of community service, and they are affiliated with a club or organization at Hillside High School. And our freshmen are the most challenging, and they are the largest group. So we always have to put things in place to make sure that, when they come in, we set the tone so that they can be successful. We have a plethora of clubs and organizations. This club at the bottom is Theta Phi Delta. They do the most out of all our clubs and organizations. We also have, can y'all see this spreadsheet right here? You can't see it? Okay, I'm gonna stop sharing and reshare. So we have several clubs and organizations for our students to become a part of. Club, chess club, FBLA, culinary. We have a hair club, Hillside African Studies, a debate club, drama, drone, gaming club, GSA, dance club. We have outdoor clubs, hip hop programs. And a lot of the kids, if they don't see something on this list that appeals to them, medical club, National Honor Society, news club, they will come. I'm actually over the clubs and organizations as well. So they would come to me and they would tell me, look, there's a club we want to start. What do I need to do? And I'll be like, just find you a counselor, find you an advisor. And I send them the packet to fill out the application to start a new club, and they get it going. So we really push our students to affiliate themselves with a club of their interests, to kind of, to teach them, the skills that they need to be successful. They learn so much in these clubs, and they also connect their learning. Okay, let me see if it's going to start. Okay. This year, for the first time, we had a graduation for our exceptional children. This was the first time we did this, and it was so nice. The students have their own personal graduation, and they also still attend our regular graduation as well. But let me tell you a little backstory about why they decided to do this. So we had one student who because of his disability, he doesn't do well around a lot of people. But I'm telling you, I've heard this student up and down the hallway talk about how excited he was about graduation. So just the fact that he wasn't going to be able to attend our graduation because there's so many people there, they decided that they was going to do a small graduation so that he can attend. But they invited everybody. And it was just wonderful. Everybody enjoyed it and loved it. And we plan on doing it every year. This is a picture of our band. They were supporting the homecoming parade. Student support also encompasses academic programs. So over here we have the Business and Finance Academy, which is under the NAF curriculum. These students graduate with 2 diplomas. They get a diploma in business and finance, and then they get their regular high school diploma. This is a picture of the graduation that they had this year. So they attend 2 graduations as well. We also have an NYP and an IB program also for our students. NYP is middle year program and IB is the international baccalaureate. And we also do dual enrollment too. If a student has a 2.8, they can take 2.8, they can take courses at Durham Tech Community College. Building supportive relationships is our competency number 4. Promote adult student peer and school community relationships that value and support academic learning and positive social and emotional development. And here are some examples of how we do this at Hillside. Over here, you see it's a collaboration with the Rowe Campus Social Studies Honor Society and UNC Chapel Hill Wilson Library. They came in and they interviewed our students. So they were showing them like interview skills, and we know that is essential. And clubs and organizations, they had a fundraiser and they got to pour this batter all over the teacher of their choice heads. So of course that built relationships too, right? To pick a teacher, probably one that got on their nerves and just pour stuff all over them. Over here, this was our band. They were supporting Hillside High School Senior Night. So of course, anytime you have student support, that's building support relationship. The 5th pillar is student empowerment. Cultivate and reinforce student engagement in school and positive student conduct. In one of the pictures over here, students participated in a 4-lab rotation at Bridge Bio Gene Therapy Center. And this is one of our teachers, her students, and some of the staff there. In the middle, the students who scored the highest on the end of course exam, they won a PS5. So my principal was always rewarding students and acknowledging them. And over here, this is a collaboration with Toshiba. The CEO of Toshiba came over to Hillside to accelerate our students' readiness for college and careers. The 6th competency, which is school culture, promote adult student peer and school community relationships that value and support academic learning and positive social and emotional development. And this is how some examples of how we do this at Hillside. So we're always trying to build relationships with people in our community. So we had a retired professional soccer player to come and donate items to our girls soccer team. And you see that displayed in the middle picture and the picture to the bottom left. Over here, we have peer group instruction because it's about peer-to-peer instruction too and group instruction. Okay, so when I first started diving into evaluating how implement Standard 5, I said to myself, I was like, you know what, we support our kids. We do a lot here at Hillside High School. Our school is like a community center. A lot of you know, I don't even know what time it closes. But I also wanted to look at the panorama survey. So we have approximately 1,500 kids at Hillside High School, and 1,217 kids took this survey. So that's about 80% of our student population. So this survey is, it measures social emotional learning for student competency, equity, and inclusion. So I was shocked to see, as you can see in the top gray, it has, it measures cultural awareness and action, emotional regulation, growth mindset, self-efficacy, self-management, sense of belonging, and social awareness. So sense of belonging and self-efficacy were our lowest ones, with sense of belonging being 42% and self-efficacy being 45%. Why does this matter? It matters because this is how students feel about our school. Although we do all these great things, this is what the data is suggesting. So how well do people at your school understand you as a person is the first question that was asked to the students, and only 35% responded favorably. That's concerning. How connected do you feel to the adults at your school? 38% responded favorably. How much respect do students in your school show? 50%. How much do you matter to others at 37%? Overall, how much do you feel like you belong at your school? Only 48%. Self-efficacy. How confident are you that you can complete all the work that is assigned in your classes? 56%. When complicated ideas are presented in class, how confident are you that you can understand them? 42%. How confident are you that you can learn all the material presented in your classes? 52%. How confident are you that you can do the hardest work that is assigned in your classes? 42%. And how confident you remember what you learned in your classes? Only 31%. So I talked to some of my colleagues about this. For one, it was hard to get the students to take this survey. This survey is very extensive. There's a lot of questions up there, and they rolled it out during homeroom, right? And the students that did not take the survey during homeroom, we kind of called them out of their classes and had them to come to the cafeteria to take it. So I'm sure some of it was they were just trying to get through the survey, and there was no incentive either. And it also could be, we just talked about like what could have contributed to these results, right? And then we offer so much and do so much, but are the kids making the connection? Do we market ourselves appropriately where students understand actually what we're doing and why we're doing it? So really pushing our mission and our vision. So those were some things we talked about as it relates to the Panorama survey results. So school is also about academic performance also, right? Because after we do all these things, it is to have a positive impact on student learning. So now we're going to look at how it impacts our student learning. So academic growth, as you can see, Hillside, we do not have a problem growing students. We actually exceeded growth. 2023 was only 2 years. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's 8 years up here that I can see. Only 2 of those years we just met, but other than that, we typically exceed growth. Now, our ELC scores, I was looking at those and I was like, okay, so our scores are pretty low, but guess what? When I look at the state, their scores are low too. So it looks like to me there's a bigger problem than just Hillside High School. So I talked to some of my colleagues about, the grows and glows that they saw as well. And we talked about attendance being a pillar as well. If students are not here, students, you can't teach them, right? But I think ultimately as a state, the state of North Carolina, we have a problem with these scores. So the overall rating of Hillside High School, I said Hillside does a great job of creating a safe and inclusive learning environment, recognizing students through the PBIS model and celebrating their variety of academic programs to accelerate the learning of all students, and has a variety of clubs and organizations for students to join, which allows students to explore their interests, develop new skills, and extend classroom learning. Overall, I think that we have a lot of things in place to be an inclusive, conducive learning environment. And we have a lot of academic programs as well. I failed to mention too, we have a real bank in our school as well, through Wood Forest. So the people in the community, they can come to our school as well and handle their bank needs. We do taxes, everything here at Hillside High. 3 major strengths. I said extracurricular activities and academic programs, diverse and inclusive environment, and academic growth. Major opportunities opportunities, MTSS Tier 2 and 3 intervention, implementation of PBIS, and building student self-efficacy. The improvement plan. The three things I said we should focus on improving is the implementation of the MTSS program. Implement a tiered instructional system that allows teachers to effectively provide evidence-based instruction aligned with the individual's needs of students. PBIS, implement PBIS with fidelity. Train teachers on the PBIS model and how to effectively implement it to increase students' achievement and foster a conducive learning environment. And building student self-efficacy. The relationships. If you don't have a relationship with students, you cannot teach them. You cannot get to the core. So building student relationships, provide professional development to teachers to create learning plans that meet students' individual needs and include research-based instructional strategies. The list of artifacts, panorama survey results, teaching working conditions, MTSS, FAM survey, and our school report card. And then my references. Any questions?
I will tell you, Malika, you were very, very, very comprehensive with your presentation. I'm going to ask you a question. As it relates to your role, you're the principal of this school. Let's just say you're the principal. All of this information, how does it apply to you as the principal of the school?
How does it apply to me?
How does this relate to you as the principal? Or how does it relate to the principal of the school? Everything that you presented.
Well, I think it relates because the principal is the leader in the school and the principal kind of creates the culture.
You're right. And it goes back to, I don't know which president said it. He said, the buck stops here. That's where the buck stops. It stops with the principal. So, your school, Hillside, does. It has amazingly, it's just got a lot of culture there, a lot of good stuff is there for the students. But I do think that you honed in on some areas of concern, areas that you need to look at. And I think, that panoramic view could be skewed because you know yourself that a lot of them just marked something and didn't even read probably, so that's probably a skewed results. If it was in a more structured environment and, kind of like when you do your EOC testing or, those kinds, if it had been in a more structured environment like that, and like you said, maybe with an incentive behind it, the results would have been, here it goes again, unstable connection. The results would have been differently. So, but I think you've got some good information that the school improvement team and others can build on this information, and it's enough that that there are some areas of concern there that that you can work on to better improve. And perception is reality, as we said last week, I think it was. If that's what they think, then no matter what you do, you've got to work with how they think. So I think you've got a lot to work with. You've built a good case to be able to move forward with your school and with your administration. And I hope they take this information and they take it seriously, and will use it. I have to ask you this: what is the racial diversity of your school?
67% African American, 27% Hispanic, and then the rest is
Is that
of
is that
Caucasian.
based on communities and where people live, or is
Yes.
that okay? That's pretty much it. So
Yes.
okay, because I didn't see a whole lot of me there. Is my question. I didn't see a large Caucasian population there, so you don't have a lot of Caucasians in that area. Okay.
Well, not where the school is, and not our feeder school either. No.
Okay. Okay. And we have a lot of that in Robeson County as well, where I live. It's where communities have built, and you've got large Hispanic populations in some schools. You've got large African American populations, and because of our Native American population, we've got schools that are 95% or more Native American, which a lot of you would not see that like I see it because of where I live. So,
So at Hillside, Hillside is one of 4 of the historically Black high schools left in North Carolina. So when I first started here in 2014, it was 97% African American.
Wow. So it has become more diverse that time. Okay. And like you said, we have schools like that in our county as well. That, like I said, one of our schools is highly Native American population. Actually, where the University of North Carolina at Pembroke is, that's the same thing. And we know, we're grown people, that our communities dictate the culture of our schools. We have to be cognizant of all of that, where we are. But excellent job. You did a great job laying out this information. Who has any comments that they would like to she needs some love, so give her some comments.
I got some love for her. I really enjoyed, you went into detail about all the things that your school does to help support these students. And I think it was awesome. And you have pictures. Y'all do a lot. And it's every facet. I think it's really cool how your school also has, a bank in it. How they have all these things, these opportunities for kids that they can learn, and the community comes in too. So I love that so much.
A doctor's office. I mean, that's amazing.
Like I go there sometimes.
Yeah. Meanwhile, we're struggling for Band-Aids.
You were so well spoken, Malika. I was thinking, oh my gosh, I know I did not sound that professional when I was talking. You're doing such a good job.
You did a great job.
Your professional language was very good. You're just very well spoken when you speak.
Thank you.
Well, you continue, y'all just, the bar was raised from week 1. And again, I have enjoyed all 5 presentations at this point. And honestly, all of you have taught me something. It has opened my eyes to some things as I'm looking, at these standards and in the future. This is actually the first semester that I've done this assignment this way, and I see the value in it more than I have ever done in the past. So I like the way all of this is, how it's happening, on a weekly basis. So any more comments before we move on? I did miss something. We need to talk about your assignment 4, and we're not going to spend a lot of time with it, the behavior continuum. And I'm going to ask for a volunteer. Who would just talk just for a couple of minutes about the behavior continuum, and what you learned, not your personal results, but about what the author had to say about from Glickman, what they had to say about the behavior continuum. There actually were some different, as a principal, or a supervisor, there were different behaviors on that continuum based on, teachers, whoever you were working with. And one of the things that I learned from it before is, it's based on circumstances sometimes, which, what route you have to take. Sometimes, you just have to take over for a teacher, and then sometimes you want to include the teacher. One of the things that I've always tried to do is, if there was a problem, if I had a problem with a teacher, first of all, I always tried to start out with my conversation with accentuating positives, tried to find good things that they have done. And that made it so much easier to lead into areas of concern. But if a teacher brings a problem to me, or a worker brings a problem to me, I say, okay, I'm listening. But I have encouraged them. I said, don't ever bring me a problem without thinking about a possible solution to that problem. And then let's take it from there. I don't want it to always be me. And, as a assistant principal, that's something you need to think about. Don't take on ownership of everything, right, Dina? Don't take on the ownership of everything.
That's
You
right,
need
Dr.
to go ahead.
Oh, you're right. You're 100% right, because you will go crazy. You will go out of your mind trying to make everybody happy. And again, I think that's a great point. Come, if you have an issue or a concern, come to me, but also come to me with a solution.
Right, and we can. It gives us something, a level playing field to start from. I need to know how you're thinking. But who would like to talk just briefly about the behavior continuum? That reading assignment in itself. Anybody? Okay. Okay. Well, if you're not going to do that, who would like to talk about just briefly the aha from taking, looking at that for yourself as you looked at yourself on that continuum? What aha did you have?
I think I lost my train of thought just now. I heard a dog bark in the background. I was going to say, I think that it was easy for me on that continuum to pick out my strengths. Like, I know that I'm very reflective in my practice, but to look there and really be honest with myself about where I am, on that thing, and then connecting it back, like, is this a blind? I thought through some of these things and thought, is this a blind spot for me? Am I unaware that I do this? Or I know that but I know that I'm not always the best listener. I've probably cut even some of you off at some point or other. I get ahead of myself. I get excited. I start talking and I say it before I think through it. But the continuum really helps me think about that and think about, okay, where do I really need to be honest with myself, and what do I actively need to think about as I go into this new job? And I know that I need to go in quiet and I need to be willing to listen first.
Right. Good observation. Again, this was assignment 4. Do you see again how this serves as a self-reflection of where you are now?
All the assignments have been a self-reflection or a self-assessment. And so it was just nice to see again in a different lens where you stand and what your improvements should be. And it will help me set goals for next year.
That's great, Paulette. Malika?
Anytime I'm listening to like self-enrichment videos and stuff like that, they always talk about listening more and talking less. So I fight in battle with that one. So I try, like, in any situation, I know that a lot of times, to be honest, I try to go ahead and say something because I forget what you said. So I started taking notes. writing down keywords. It's not that I'm trying to cut you off. I'ma just forget. I'm sorry.
Well,
So listening for me is a big one because it's very important to just hear people out. And sometimes we want to go ahead and respond, but just listening through. And I make a note to say, I ask people, are you finished talking? You know, are you did you have anything else to say? And sometimes I ask too, are you venting or do you want feedback? Because sometimes people don't want your feedback. They just want you to be a listening ear.
and if you notice my stature right now, this is why I do this a lot when I'm dealing with people, and I lean in. That honestly, and I make good eye contact with people. I nod my head, I smile, and that makes people very comfortable to talk to me. And honestly, sometimes they tell me more than I need to know. Uh, and this is and I'm one too. I have to work hard on it because I don't want to lose my train of thought if there's something, but sometimes I have to bite my tongue to keep from saying anything because it's not the right time for me to say anything. I don't need to say anything. I have to still work on that after all these years. Sometimes my opinion doesn't matter, even though I think it does. We all think it does, Dina?
I just wanted to say, as far as the self-assessment results, I think as an assistant principal, and Stacy will learn this, there are certain things that we can control. For example, our professional characteristics or, our personalities. However, there are a lot of things in this role that we cannot control. Things that, change agency skills and things like that. We can make suggestions. However, it comes down to, at the end, what the principal wants and needs. And I think for me, sometimes that is a struggle because sometimes I feel like in my position, I do see the bigger picture at times. I am in and out of those classrooms a lot. So with just some of these self-assessment results, it's hard to, there was an area like the professional characteristics where it came up strongly agree between my colleagues and myself. However, skills, individual assistance, and school-wide assistance came back as agree. I felt like I was highly effective, but unfortunately, as the assistant principal, I can only do so much.
Right. Good observation. Thank you. Renee? Did you raise your hand? Okay. Is there anybody else? Excellent comments. I can tell that you all are absorbing, what you need to absorb from your reading, from these assignments, and the whole purpose is to be able to take it and effectively be able to decide, this is where I am as you're moving. Some of you very, very soon into these roles. Stacy, when do you start?
Well, officially my start date is July 28th, but I did participate in Admin Academy yesterday. They do 3 days of Admin Academy a year or a summer, and I did my first day. And yesterday, funny enough, we actually went through the school improvement action plan process. So like they had it broken down hour by hour, and like, the first hour we looked at data in the school. The second hour we looked at the teacher working condition survey. It was really, I'm like, oh my gosh, I actually kind of get this. But for North Carolina, we have NC Star. So we did have to align our NC Star standards with our goals, but I was able to help my principal write measurable goals. And that made me feel good. Like, okay, I can do this. But when we left, she texted me and complimented me and said, I think we're going to work as a really great team. And I appreciate what you brought to the table today. And I would never have survived that day or conversation without this course. So I'm very, very grateful for that. But then the superintendent pulled me over and reminded me that I needed to get my bus license. And if you know me well, that's a terrible idea. My husband's real worried about that. And then also informed me that my second day of Admin Academy would be a 5-hour active shooter drill where everyone in the county responds like it's the real thing and people die and all the things. And so I'm already nervous for July 28 or 29, whatever it is. So, but it's okay. I'm easing into it.
That's all right. Let us know when you get your CDL license.
So that you can stay off the road in Lincoln County.
No, so we can say congratulations.
Yeah.
You will become a great bus driver.
We'll
You don't have
see.
to do it often.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, supposedly there are great bus drivers where I'm going. Hopefully they will not need me. But the good news is that I'm in the literal boondocks. So there's nothing to hit except, grass. So I should be all right. If I run off the road a little bit, it'll be fine.
Anyway, well, are there any questions before we close? Okay, any questions from my experts for next week? Reach out to me, Doug. Who was the other? Douglas and who did I say?
Me, Mandy.
Mandy. Okay. If y'all have any questions before, during the week, just reach out to me, okay?
Will
Okay.
do.
And again, with
Can I go to Mandy so she'll make me look bad?
do what, Doug?
Can I go before Mandy so she don't make me look bad?
She would never do that.
Oh, she will.
She would never do that.
It's not intentional.
She would never do that. You're going to do great too, Doug. Both of you are. Actually,
Okay.
I was talking to yesterday afternoon or Monday afternoon. It was Monday. I met with Dr. Lamb and with Dr. Maraglia, and she was asking me about all of you. So anyway, looking at already closing out, halfway through, I already got my assignments for the fall and have to start looking at getting ready with a brand new group of students coming in. So you all remember that, don't you? But anyway, Renee, you have a question?
Do at the end.
At the
If
end,
you don't mind
okay.
staying on. Yeah.
Okay, sure. Okay. Well, good night, everybody. I'll see you next week. Okay.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Dr. Stedman.
Okay, let me
Real quick.
stop.
Okay.
Let me stop this
Oh, I'm
recording.
sorry.
Pause.